Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3. Welcome back, Madeline, Arrington, and Momo. Welcome back to all of our viewers. It's great to have you with us. Hopefully, you still have your piece of paper that we started to work on from episode 1 and episode 2 about the situation that you want to try to awaken certainty in. In episode 2, we literally transformed it from this is happening to me, again, this is happening, why me, to wow, the creator's really working to strengthen me in these areas. So if you didn't get a chance, go back and listen to episode 1 and episode 2. If you're here in episode 3, that means you heard those and you came for life hacks and secrets on how to awaken certainty right in the moment when it gets really dark. So that being said, who wants to jump in with their certainty tool that they use when things get dark and they want to try and see things from a better space and really believe that the creators is my personal trainer trying to make me better?
Yeah, for me it's not one tool, it's all the tools, trying all at the same time, because you don't know what's the one that's going to unlock that revelation or clarity for you. Sometimes for me it's through prayer, sometimes for me it's through tools of the Zohar. A lot of times it's through self-audit and self-questioning, right? As I'm doing my prayer, I'm trying to think and ask, if I don't have clarity, to ask to be open for clarity, right? So that I'm ready for it, and preparing myself to be ready for it sometimes. So a lot of times I'm not ready for it and I don't want to know yet, right? So it's trying to just inch myself towards getting to that point where I can find answers for myself. And a lot of times, for me, a nice note is I like to try to do everything in my power to do my best and be my best at all times, regardless of what's happening. And once I feel like I've reached that point where I've done all the tools, I've done all of my physical work and my spiritual work, then it's the point where I can let go and say, you know what, I've done everything I can. There's nothing more I can do. And just let the light do the work and just have certainty that whatever needs to happen and needs to take place will happen, and that it's for my best and it's ultimately to make it my best self in the future.
Amazing. So I love that. You do your best and let the light do the rest.
Yeah.
So I want to make a small point there, because that was very close to my tool. But like we said, and like we learned in episode 2 with you specifically, it's not necessarily doing your best in, doing everything you can to maintain or fix the relationship. It's not,
Not
putting
all
all the tools.
It's almost everything but that. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where I want to just share my tool, and I want to jump in with my tool. It's saying to myself, when this situation happens, okay, it's chaotic, it's crazy, it's clearly this situation is happening to me, and that's the story that's going on in my mind. I ask myself, what am I good at? And what am I not good at? So I say to myself, okay, so let's just use Arrington's example. I'm good at controlling the situation. I'm good at trying to fix it. I'm good at trying to push someone away when they hurt me and saying I don't need them. I'm good at that. I've done for sure. The creator is not trying to strengthen that muscle, because I've built my whole life on that muscle. And I have a couple of my own examples, but I think this is just because it's a combination of the two, right? Where is the creator trying to strengthen me? Well, I'm not really good at feeling my feelings and just sitting there, and something that I don't feel in control with. And I want to put the effort there. So it's like a combination of do my best, let the light do the rest. But almost after you're able to ask yourself the question, what am I good at? What am I not? Well, I'm great at blaming and saying, this is the coach. This is the authority figure. They always do me wrong. The coach literally said you're a better player, but he has ego, so you're gonna be benched. And I'm like, all right, so what am I good at? I'm good at blaming him. I'm good at quitting basketball and quitting every authority figure that tells me that I didn't do it. What am I not good at? Obeying, learning to listen to an authority figure, and maybe thinking that they might know something that thinks that is better for the team than is better for me. And I was like, oh my God, that's so different that I might not see that. So let me do my best in that area and let the creator take care of the rest, and see if I start the next game and see if the test comes through. So it's like a combination of both, I think. For me, that's like my tool. What am I good? I'm dark situation. What am I good at? What am I not good at? Well, I'm good at blaming. I'm good at, seeing how the situation is not good for me. I'm not good at saying, how do I work with this situation? How do I strengthen my muscle? How do I, listen to an authority figure as opposed to blame them? So that's
which is a lot harder to do also, especially in those situations.
for sure. For sure. It's a lot harder, which is why it's where the creator is trying to strengthen us for sure. Madeline or Momo, do you guys want to jump in?
Sure, I'll jump in. I have to say, I love this part of the conversation because it's just such a beautiful show of spirituality looks different for everybody. The creator wants to strengthen every one of us in different ways, and there's no one size fits all, right? These are just tools that you can use at any point in time. But for me specifically, in this whole repetitive pattern of I'm rejected from something I've worked really hard to achieve or earn, it really has become, I have one little trick that I want to share, which is when I'm in the midst of this darkness, right? I got that, what was it, 46 rejection, 45. I get to the place and I write down a little bit like what we just did, but I write down what's happening. I write down how I'm feeling. And I say, I feel depressed because X, right? Because this employer didn't give me a job, because this college didn't accept me, because my debate advisor didn't put me on the team, right? I put the person, I put the thing, and then I scratch it out and I say, I feel depressed because the light is doing this to me, because the light chose to not put me on the team. And then I read back that little sentence to myself. And that is just such a powerful, I know it sounds really silly, but language has a lot of power. And the way we talk about things has a lot of power. So when I read that back to myself, it just creates this little laughter internally, which is like, you really think the creator is out to get you. The creator is out to just do things that are bad for you over and over again. So it reminds me, one, that the creator and the universe has my back and is involved in every single thing that happens in my life. And second, that it's, as you said, for me and not against me. And the second I do that, I can't say reality changes in a second, right? It may change in 2 seconds, in 2 days, but I can tell that I'm opening myself up to that clarity that Arrington was talking about, that he prays for sometimes, right? And just as a funny tidbit, after the 46 job rejection, I sent 3 more job applications and I got accepted into 2 out of 3. So in a week, after I had spent 3 months trying to figure out an apartment, a job, what am I going to do? I worked so hard for this moment. Nothing's going my way. I was so caught up with, I want this result in this way, that I wasn't letting the creator give me the result that was best for me. The second I let go of that, and you see, I'm kind of like blending a lot of the things we've talked about already, let go, having certainty, injecting the creator in the process, right? But I focused on the effort that I was putting. And I said, if I put the right effort in and I have the right consciousness and purpose, the creator is going to give me whatever it is I need. In a week, I had 2 job offers. I found an apartment. The restrictions for COVID opened and I was able to move back to where I wanted to be. I know it sounds extreme, but it literally happened that way. So that's just like a show of when you put your heart and mind in the right place, the creator then says, okay, you saw it. Right? The patterns we were talking about. You saw what I was trying to help you see. Now I can let you go into the next level. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I was being really silly for being so chaotic about this thing.
I love what you said, because when you cross out the person's name or the situation that's happening to you and you say the light is doing this, it's funny because you're literally injecting the light into the situation, because you're saying, this is not about the person. This is the creator taking this so that I feel this and so that I can improve in this. You're literally crossing off, and you're in a visual way. You're marking it off and saying, it's not about the person. It's not about my mom. It's not about my teacher. The light's doing this to me to make me feel this so that I can strengthen it. So and then as soon as you do that, that's very powerful. Thank you, Madeline. Momo. Everybody's waiting for your secrets.
So my secret is a fairly newly developed habit, which is whenever I get into a situation where I'm reactive or like something's happening, quote, to me, right? Like my teacher forgot my AP test, my older brother who I always looked up to suddenly started bullying me. Like there's all these other Yeah, that's an intense one. That was the old pattern of felt betrayed. Oh yeah. Like these kind of things happen, and every time I would just, react initially. And so I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, I learned this very fun technique that's very effective for me, which is pretend I'm already my perfected self. I've already gone through every challenge in my life. I've already mastered every possible spiritual path, technique, all these things. Like I'm a master sage, right? Now, what would I do? If I was basically the light itself, if I was perfect, what would my response be? And it doesn't necessarily give me the exact response I need or the perfect response, but it definitely elevates my level of reaction to this situation, going from whine and yell and scream and blame and blah, 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 to hold on, there might be something more here. There might be an opportunity. There might be a challenge to learn from. There might be, something to gain here rather than just I'm being attacked. And yeah, it came from a workshop that I did a couple of years ago where it was like an improv, like spiritual improv workshop where they said, okay, state a problem you have. And at the time, mine was pretty much the same thing, like being way too affected of what others think of me or how others see me or what others do. And the guy said, okay, pretend you're the expert on the subject and lecture us for 5 minutes how to overcome it. And I realized
On the spot, I was there.
on the spot. Yeah,
you feel
you're
like
there.
a failure. You share your problem, and now in the improv, you had to lecture. That was correct. I remember that.
So I just remember, like, I thought I was just BSing my way through this entire workshop. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna say whatever comes to me, whatever happens, right? And I just did it. And like 2 minutes into me talking, I'm like, oh my God, I knew what to do. I have the answers. Like the teacher's not sitting there and telling me exactly how to solve my problem. He's like, I'm telling myself how to solve my problem, but I'm telling other people what's going on, right? Like I'm lecturing other people like, hey, if you have the same problem as me, here's exactly how to do it. So I kind of like pull myself out of the situation, right? And go, okay, I've already mastered it. Let me tell you how to do it. That kind of thing. So now I just kind of play that same game with myself.
Very cool. So there's almost like an initial moment of pause because you can't do that if you're reactive.
Yeah.
So there has to be that initial pause, and then you kind of like borrow from the perfect you.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Fun.
And you could do that little TED Talk thing, that little workshop. You don't know what to do. You don't know, but now you have to give an expert lesson on how to be the best at. That's very
For anybody
cool.
who likes to be dramatic, who's like theater kid style, people who like to be imaginary, play pretend, be very creative. This is definitely something for you because it helps you use the strength. Like you were saying, you're already good at something, right? Here's how to learn to be better in the places you're not so strong. This is to use your strength of how creative you can be, how well you can put yourself in a different mindset, how well you can, like I say pretend, but that's only just how to get to this point is you have to pretend you've already mastered it. But like, the answers, you have exactly what you need.
I mean, technically your soul's connected to the creator. So it has everything. We just have layers around it. And that's something that we're going to speak about in future discussions, as well as that's actually a really deep, spiritual, profound Kabbalistic tool written in many spaces that you can borrow from the perfect self. Arrington mentioned the Zohar, which is an amazing tool for when you're in a really dark space and no logical thoughts can kind of get you out of that. You just kind of open this very powerful book and you draw energy. So these are all things that we're going to speak about in future episodes. But these tools are great. Each one of us has our own way to look at our process, and hopefully for hundreds and hundreds of viewers at home, each one of us gave and shared a different tool. And take the one that you feel most connected to, or take them all and put them in your toolbox. But definitely doing this exercise when you're going through a challenge, replaying this podcast, replaying this video will help to switch the situation, even if you've heard it 100 times. So that could also be a good tool. Overall. But thank you guys so much, Momo. Thank you, Arrington. Thank you, Madeline, for all of your personal shares and your wisdom and your thoughts. I think everybody that's watching at home is really getting a lot from it.
And thank you, David.
You.
My pleasure to be with all of you guys. Thank you, all the viewers, for sticking with us through 3 episodes. We hope you got lots of value from this this episode, and we'll see you very soon in another episode. All the best.